Okay, so I wanted to find a real use case that I would use today for the AI generative fill in Adobe Photoshop. I thought, how can I use this tool to make my workflow better? So I got this photo of the fields over behind my house. Worth noting, I took this with a DJI drone, and that would have used, artificial intelligence when it took the 9 shots. And I suppose you would say that's AI. Maybe it's not pre-programming. I don't know, but I definitely used AI when I stitched it together, or when Lightroom stitched it together for me to kind of form this panoramic view. So yeah, how can I use these tools that are kind of coming in, to make my workflow better, and make kind of life easier. So yeah, there's this barn down here, which is all very nice and good, but maybe it'd be more perfect without a barn. So what I normally do is I would use the clone tool. So let's just duplicate that layer. And I would use the clone tool on this, and that hedge is slightly, well, let's take this bit of hedge here, and the colour's not going to be quite right, but let's just do that. I'll take that one away, it's a bit big, and let's get this bit of hedge up here, going up here, and obviously we've changed the field a bit, but I think we're going to be okay. So this colour's not quite right, and the shadow's not quite right. They're the biggest problems for me. The colour and the shadow's not quite right, because the shadow here, the sun's really low, and so the barn is casting a massively long shadow along there. Now, would you kind of notice that as a thing? Maybe not. The kind of sharp eye might, so just kind of get rid of that, but this is a lot to get rid of with a kind of clone tool, so I would probably not do much more. Maybe just burn this down here just to be a little bit darker. So I probably wouldn't do a bit more, just a tiny bit of kind of colour correction stuff, but I wouldn't do much more. But that's taken, what, I don't know, minute and a half or whatever it is. You can check the timestamp in this. They're not taking long. It's imperfect. The shadows aren't right. I don't think the casual viewer will notice. We notice because we've seen what it looks like. It's okay. It's okay. It needs a bit of a tweak. I mean, that line needs a bit of a massive tweak, doesn't it, down there? Doesn't make any sense that goes like that. That was a bit awkward. But yeah, it's a bit awkward, but I don't think you notice. I think it'd make it passable. I've certainly shown worse Photoshop jobs, and people have been impressed by them. And you could definitely improve that and spend a bit more time kind of making it right. The lines in the field make it more difficult because you'll notice the kind of size difference. And there's stuff you can do in Photoshop already to kind of fix that. But that with the kind of quick, dirty, I need this in 2-minute kind of job. I'd be happy with that. Not a problem. But let's have a look what generative fill can do. So let's duplicate that layer again. So this is our next layer, and we'll use generative fill. So the thing I've noticed is a shadow, so I definitely want that to be taken into account. Anything you want the generative fill to change needs to be within the bounding box you create. So I could highlight just the barn, but I think it wouldn't change the shadows. It might creep a bit out of the selection, and I just use the pen tool because it's non-destructive. You can edit it as well. So we'll keep as much of that hedge as we can, and you can curve the pen as well if you need to, but you can change them after. Anyway, that's just by the by. I like the pen tool for selections. So let's come up here, because this here is the top of these trees here. So we'll follow all that all the way down there, and we'll get the slightly rough surround of the barn. So if you're interested at all, you finish the path, you go Control or Command Enter to turn it into a selection. So then we'll say, just simple, remove this barn. We'll see what happens. So I think if this comes out right, I think if it's slightly quicker, and let's see if it's any better. It'd be quicker if I wasn't talking through it. Obviously, you could just kind of do the selection and drop it. And there we go. Oh my word. Yeah, I mean, it's quite good. The lines aren't perfect, are they? But I think you would say, let's do a like most. I think I like that one most. I think you would say that is better than that as a finish. So there it is without. There it is with it. There's it without it, and that's non-destructive. You'll notice that's an extra layer. So yeah, I think that works really, really well.